the pain like I'm Nagato. Got no father like I'm Naruto. Keep the blade on me, Ichigo. Who really wanna go toe for toe? GTR from Tokyo. Diamonds whipping up on the stove. Lucky man like a 4-leaf clove. Diamonds wanna go and visit.
Hello guys, my name is Nagato and welcome back to my channel. For today's tutorial, I'm basically going to be showcasing y'all guys and a little guide as well on how to sync 2300 plus trophy folders for your PSN modded account. I like to state in all my videos, like the prerequisites, of course. First things first, you need a modded PlayStation 3, preferably on the highest firmware in terms of custom or CFW, I should say. What you also need for this process is basically the 2300 trophy folder set in the description below. You'll also need BruteForce SaveData, and any files I'm stating right now, it will be in the description below as well with the download links. You basically need to make 2 blank folders called PARAM.SFO and one called set1. You'll also need these 3 PKG files: Multiman, Rebug ToolBox, and SEN Enabler. And as I go through each file, I'll explain a little bit more of, what's the purpose, and I'm going to go in great detail on, each step. And also, of course, you need a USB thumb drive that is formatted to FAT32. So the first step we should get started on first is to focus on the PKGs. So if you want to do this via, I call it the USB method way, basically just copy and pasting the folders over within Multiman into a certain directory, and in your trophy directory, go with the Multiman way. If you want to do it the Rebug ToolBox way, for example, and just FTP over, you could still follow the same steps, but in this case, I'm not going to do that process. But basically, once you have a Rebug ToolBox open, for example, and then you have FileZilla or any FTP client, go ahead and type your PS3's IP in, and once you have Rebug ToolBox already installed and it's still on the same screen, you can FTP your folders FTP, since Rebug ToolBox allows FTP transfers, and you could just go follow through with the same directory. But in this case, go ahead and pick your poison. But you'll definitely need SEN Enabler unless you do want to get your console ID banned, or you want to get your PSN account banned. So I do recommend having this, even if you on the latest version of 4.84, and I'll explain a little bit more why back on a PS3. So go ahead and plug in your USB drive, and make sure your USB drive is formatted to FAT32. So the way you do that is just go ahead and right click, go to properties, and then from there you can check your file system. It should state that it is on FAT32. If not, go ahead from here, and basically what you want to do now is go down to your drive, go to format, and then you should see your file system. If it says NTFS or exFAT, go ahead and just click FAT32. You can leave the allocation size default or whatever it states when y'all guys do it. And then you want to click this button right here called quick format. Just make sure it's checked, and then click start. But before you even click start, just fair warning, if y'all guys have any important files, or if you guys had any documents or whatever, go ahead and back it up to another USB drive or your desktop, because anytime you format any USB drive or hard drive, you basically could lose all your data once you click that OK button. So with that being said, that's how you would change your thing to FAT32. And then once your thing, and you're for sure that it's on FAT32, what you want to do is now go ahead and take 3 PKG files, or whichever poison you want. If FTP method, Rebug, basically the copy and paste HDD method, go to Multiman. But what I'm going to do is just copy all 3, just drag and drop like normal. I'm not going to replace these files since I already have it, and to make the video a little quicker. So once you do that and it's on there, now what you can do is just exit out the X out, excuse me, basically your USB drive. The next step, what you want to go ahead and take, is the BruteForce SaveData, and we're going to install it. So, and there will be a zip and a RAR of this, so I'll have WinRar in the description, so you can just unzip the files that way as well. But basically what you want to do, once you get the unzip folder, you see these 4 files. Go to the first one, hover over it, right click it, and then run as administrator. Just click yes, and then just click next, and I agree, unless you want to read the stuff. Next again, install, and then let it do its thing. It doesn't take too long. When it says do you want to update the global config file, just say yes. say yes to the game's configuration, and then yes to the local database. And then from there, just go ahead and say finish, and you want to run basically BruteForce SaveData. With this cheat repository, you can download it, but it doesn't really affect anything for trophies. It's basically just save data stuff. But once from there, you can just exit that out, or if it will allow me to. Here, let me go back. I could just open up BruteForce SaveData since I already had it previously installed. And it should pop this back up via like the GUI, and you should see basically a blank screen because you didn't put your trophies in yet. However, we're going to speak more about the PARAM.SFO and how to get this profile ID. So on your PS3, that's why I told you to make a blank folder called PARAM.SFO. If you haven't already, go ahead and make that, because on the PS3, what we're going to do is go ahead and get our save data from our account. And in our save data, there's a file called PARAM.SFO, which has our account ID. And as you see, I already had this. If you click on profile right here, you probably won't have it. You'll probably have something blank. But if you have your PARAM.SFO right here, as you see, it will basically open any PARAM.SFO and give it this little name. So don't make it like any random name. Make sure it has like a bunch of numbers and letters. So for example, if your account ID doesn't start with a letter, and it starts with, or excuse me, if it doesn't start with a number, basically you can't do this method. So if your account started with an A, for example, like the first digit of it, you couldn't do this method. But if it has a number like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 yada yada yada, that means you could do trophy successfully. Because with this method on PS3, I don't even think there's a method as of right now to, or if there is, it's very difficult to do, basically to try to sync accounts with that starts with a letter as opposed to with a number. But that's, once you have that installed, you could go ahead and exit out. We were just doing that, to make this a little bit, faster from the PC side. But now what you want to do is go ahead and focus on the trophy folders itself. So for example, go ahead and open up, or you should have a blank folder called set1. Don't focus on these folders right now since I already did the transfer, but I'll show you what I did anyway. Right now, what you want to do is go ahead and open up your 2300 Justin Trophy folder pack, and it has all your trophies in it. The way how the PlayStation 3 works, you can only sync about 100 trophies all at once. You can't do the whole 2300. The PS3 won't recognize it when you try to rebuild your database. So thus what you have to do is go ahead and make sets, or this is what I do personally. Go ahead and make a folder called set1, and then just drag and drop and copy over like 100 folders. So what I do is just highlight all of them, and then drag and drop to like set1. I already did set1, and then I just put it over here. For example, if I was going to do this one, I'll just make another folder and call it set2. Type it out real quick. So for example, if I was going to put the next set in after I did and decrypted all the folders and BruteForce SaveData, all what I have to do is go to set2, drag and drop that and move it over. And that's how basically essentially how you do trophies that way. So you keep going. If you want to do the whole 2300, I think there's basically got to make 24 sets, and you could put that on your desktop or whatever. But in this case, we are done for that part of the thing. And basically what we need to do now is go ahead and go to the PS3 to install these 3 PKG files. And also we need to go get that PARAM.SFO so we can start basically decrypting and encrypting the trophy files with our our account PARAM.SFO. So I'll meet you guys back on the PS3 and then show you guys on the further steps to this method. Alright guys, so once you're on your PlayStation 3, of course, with your USB that is formatted to FAT32 with 3 PKGs that we just transferred over via from our PC, the next step what you want to do is go ahead into the games column of your PlayStation 3, of course, and then you want to go scroll all the way down to package manager. Go ahead and click X, go ahead and go install packages, and then go to the third option, stated standard, and go ahead and install all 3 of these PKGs. So install this one, that one, and that one. Since I've already did this for this video, I'm just going to skip that step. But once you have all 3 PKGs installed, you should get one that says GTA Academy 2013. Don't worry, it's still a SEN Enabler. I'll talk to you more about that. We have Multiman right here, and then we also have Rebug ToolBox. So once you got those three PKGs installed, what you also want to do is have a PlayStation 3 game. It doesn't matter which PS3 game is, but our goal is to basically get a save file on our PS3, so we could basically copy it to get the PARAM.SFO as well. Make sure that you have a PSN account, not to like via sign in of course, but basically have your PSN account here as well. So you can't do this on a blank profile. Make sure you already have your PSN account, you signed in at least once. But once you go to any PlayStation 3 game of your choice, in this case I'm using Gran Turismo 5, and basically just wait. I know a lot of games have auto saves or whatever. In this case, if you gotta go ahead and play a game just for like a little while just to get a save file, that's fine. But I know for a fact that for example, Gran Turismo 5 works with this process, and it basically creates an auto save file for me. So you could let any game basically boot up to the main menu. It should have. Most games on PS3 may or may not have automatic save list. I know like probably GTA 5 has it and stuff like that, but in my case, and also the reason why we're doing this too, if you're doing this on a new profile as well, it's also going to create the trophy data for your account as well. So as you see here at the gray or in the bottom right hand corner, it just left, but it says it was saving data. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing for a while, and then once it boots back into the main menu, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and back out, quit game. And then later on, when I'll show you the whole syncing method portion to this, that my account is on level 1, but as I sync each folder, and once we get the BruteForce SaveData of files basically transferred over, that's the method we're going to do. So if you go to here and trophy collection, it should show your game that you ran, and of course this is on 5%, or excuse me, 0%. I was reading the title name. But what you want to do now is go ahead to save data PlayStation 3 utility, and you should see wherever your save data game is at, or whatever save data. So if you already have save data, you could kind of skip this step for your account, what you want to do. But now what you want to do is go ahead and press triangle, copy, and then basically copy it to your USB drive. Once your thing has successfully copied over, now we can go back to the PC, and I'm gonna show you guys from the portion on how we're going to take that PARAM.SFO that we just got from our game, which is in your a save file, and then I'm going to show you guys on how to basically encrypt and decrypt trophy folders and then put them back on our PS3. So I'll see you guys right back on the PC. So what you want to do is go ahead and also put into your PC your USB drive, and then once you have your USB drive into your PC, of course, that you just took out your save data for, the first step you want to do is go ahead into this folder called PS3 save data, and it should say your title ID of the name and also the game, and then you should see something called PARAM.SFO. This is the file that we need. So what you could do is just go ahead and in that blank folder that I told you where we're going to put our PARAM.SFO from our account in, go ahead and drag and drop to here. And now what you want to do is go ahead and boot up BruteForce, since we already had it installed the first time, and then I'll show you basically how to get our PARAM.SFO to read in BruteForce SaveData. So for example, go ahead into profile right here, and now what you want to do is go to wherever you're on your desktop where we had that blank folder, and then basically from there go to the PARAM.SFO, go ahead and hit open. And as you see here, this is very important. If your things didn't state with a number and it's started with a letter, once again you can't do this method, but in this case my account ID did start with a number, so just hit OK, and now we can start syncing trophies. So once you verified your account, the first ID or the letter or number of your ID didn't start with a letter, that means you're good. But now what you want to do is go ahead and click on these three dots right here, and in the set folder that we created on our desktop, basically our dummy folders, since I already did set 1, all you would have to do is just hover over your set, click it, click OK, and you just see basically BruteForce SaveData encrypting all of your folders, for example. So since if you want to do 100, that is fine, but in this case I'm just going to do literally maybe like, I don't know, 20 folders, just to show you that this method does work, since I don't want to take too long on it. But once your trophy folders load in, you'll see all your games and basically all the icons for it. But what you want to do now is go ahead, and right now you could go here, or you could go to the icons, or you could click this and you can see all like your profiles and the game names as well. As you see here, the profile ID is different than mine, and our goal is to basically change it to this set of numbers and letters. So the way how you do that is basically you can hold shift and the down button on your arrow key to make this faster. It does take a little while, but in this example you just got to do like one by one. That's why like the PlayStation 3 trophy method is, you know, very tedious. But for example, I think I'm just gonna copy about, I don't know, basically till I get to Star Wars The Force Unreleased, or Unleashed I should say, and then copy those folders over. And BruteForce sometimes does have a problem in terms of like you know, freezing and stuff. So if it does freeze, just let it do its thing, because I think that's what it did to me now. And then once it's you know, it's done, is doing this thing, it should highlight how many you basically, you know, shift, or basically try to, you know, highlight all of them. What you want to do now is go ahead and hit rebuild full, and then it's going to ask you, do you want to update your PARAM.SFO to you know, your new account ID profile? Just say yes, because what now BruteForce SaveData is doing is decrypting all those files, and then it's going to ask you to encrypt the PFD. And then it does take a little while depending on how to, you know, do this. So as you see here, it's decrypting each folder one by one. So that was PlayStation Home, I think it was going to do. So once you basically once it's done with this, I guess the few like 10 or a couple we have on the screen right here, we're going to encrypt the PFD, and then basically from there I'm going to show you guys on how to, you know, also, you know, test your files to see if, of course, they're, you know, syncable. And I'll show you, because sometimes PlayStation 3 folders get corrupted, and if you go to your PS3 and try to sync up a corrupted folder, it will give you an error, because the error we're looking for is 8022D55. As long as you see a D55 at the end of your error, that means your trophy has successfully synced up. But in that case, I'll explain a little bit more about that later throughout the video. But now once you see all your folders are decrypted, go ahead and hit encrypt PFD, go to the second option and go encrypt all. And now what you can do is just hold down your enter key and just literally you know, hold it down so it's fast. You don't have to like keep on clicking it. And then as you see here, the end result should state that your profile account ID has changed, and it should match the one that we just got from our PARAM.SFO. If it doesn't and it looks like this, you're gonna have to redo that step again. But since I did these few, what we're gonna do now is go back to our set. And one way you could tell that if our file is corrupted or not, let me make it bigger. Look at the date difference. So for example, if your date hasn't changed to the, like, you know, the recent time, so for example this is April 14th 2019, as you see these folders hasn't been encrypted or decrypted or been touched since, you know, the February 21st. So now what you want to do is go ahead and either you could go ahead and highlight all your folders, and also from here what you can do is go ahead and transfer it to basically your USB drive, and I'll show you how to do that. So if your USB drive is still here on the screen, go ahead and you can make a dummy folder on your thing. It doesn't matter what it is, you could just name it, label it as new folder. Go ahead and transfer your new folders here, and depending on how long or how big the size of the folders, depending on the game, it can take, you know, 10 minutes. It all ranges. So basically let it do its thing. And now once you do that, just to be, you know, 100% sure as well that your folders are not, you know, corrupted or not, I have also a cool program called PS3 Trophy is Good, and I'll show you what PS3 Trophy is Good on how to check each file in itself real quick. So with PlayStation, link in the description for this process as well. What you want to do is go ahead and open up the program, the .exe, and it'll be a raw file, so you just unzip it to any directory on your PC. But once it boots up, it should show you a GUI, and if you scroll here and drag and drop, it should basically verify that your files are synced to 100%. Also tells you the title ID. You could change your timestamps as well, but the method on how doing that is if you just go ahead and drag and drop each file over, it shouldn't give you an error. If it gives you like a timeout error or says like the file is corrupted, basically that means the file is not syncable. So as you see here, it's loading up all my files. I'm just double checking before I go ahead and sync to the PS3 that like none of them are corrupted. That's like a quick method. So you got to do this for each one if you don't want to waste any time in terms of syncing, because I had experiences where you're trying to sync someone's account or myself, and like I had a corrupted folder, and basically if you have even one corrupted folder while doing this process, it basically will ruin your whole set. Or so, like let's say if like out of the 100 folders you find one bad one, or the PS3 has a corrupted one, and when you try to rebuild the database, you have to redo it all over again, and that really sucks. So that's why I tell people do it this way, since you can verify before you even go to your PS3. But since we verified it twice within the first method I taught you, and also with the PS3 Trophy is Good method, where we're going to go to now is back on our PS3 and use Multiman. If you guys using the Rebug method via FTP, you could do that as well, but for this tutorial I'm just going to do the Multiman method. And then once we do that, we're going to rebuild our database from our PS3 by either going in safe mode or using the Rebug ToolBox feature, which could instantly boot our PS3 into rebuild database safe mode, which is a way faster way of doing it. But with that being said, I'll see you guys right back on our PS3 with the USB drive and your system. Alright guys, so once you're back on your PlayStation 3 itself, what you want to do is go ahead and scroll all the way down to Multiman, since we already previously installed it. Go ahead and run it, and make sure you also have your USB in as well, because we basically going to go to our profile and find our where our trophies are at. So first step, you want to go to scroll all the way to the left, go to File Manager /MMOS, click X once. Now what you want to do is go to the PS3 root, and you want to go to your dev_USB00. If your thing says dev_USB 001 or 2, that's fine, as long as you could click onto it and see your folders. That means you're already on the right track. You could go ahead and have this to the side, because we're going to open up another folder real quick. So go to PS3 root, go to dev_HDD0, and go to home. And then basically these are all of our accounts on our PS3. So if you have 16 accounts, you'll see 16 folders. The easiest method on how to tell which one is which, since just look at the date or whenever that's one way how I do it, or also by doing this method, since I already know that this one is right here. If you go to local username, if you name your thing a certain name or ID, I know mine is user3 in this case. If yours is like, I don't know, Nagato for example, or I don't know, racecard112, you could tell by hitting local username. But in this case, I could also tell by the trophy. If I go on the icon PNG, so if you recognize your trophies on other accounts or whatever, that's how one way you can figure out which account you're trying to sync for. Because if you do the wrong profile and try to sync, you'd be like, hey, where's my trophies at? Or if you try to sync on that account as well, and of course your PARAM.SFO and all accounts have different account IDs, you can't do that method either. So what I'm going to do now, if you want to go ahead and keep your trophy folder or whatever trophies you have that you already synced naturally, you could do that too. But in this case, since it's 0% and I don't want it, you could delete it. But the directory you want to go to is dev_HDD0 home, find your profile and the trophy one. And now from the dev_USB00 folder, wherever you put your trophies at, go ahead and just hit X and then copy each folder over like that. And you could do the same method via the Rebug and FTP FileZilla way, which may be faster for y'all. And then you could just go ahead and hit paste. And with this method, it's basically pasting each trophy file, so it's posting the PARAM.SFO, any of the PSD files and all the images as well. And depending on how many you do, it may take longer. Of course, I think I did like 15 or so it shouldn't take too long. And then once the whole process is done, either on FileZilla, if you're doing that way, it'll say all transfers has been successful. And if it's on Multiman around here, it'll just stop, and you could literally count your folders and see if it copied over. But with that being said, once that process is done, what you want to do now is go to all the way back to your XMB, and you could just quit out. And then what you want to do from here is either you're going to do the safe mode method on basically how to do the rebuild database, or if you want to rebug the latest version where I am at, you could do this method, which I'm going to show you guys as well. So if you go here to custom firmware tools, if you're on Rebug, like the newest ones, this does work for both CEX and DEX as well. If you go all the way down to service tools, and then the third option, rebuild database, what it's going to do is basically rebuild your PS3 database. So I'm going to end the video right here because I'm not too sure if it's going to record that part, but if I could get the recording of it, I'll speak on it more. But once you do that, your PS3 is going to reboot for one time. You're going to have to hold the PlayStation 3 button, and it's going to say it's rebuild database. Let it do its thing. Depending on how much files and how much games you have on your PS3, this process may take longer, or this process may not take that long, depending on like I said, on your hard drive size and all that stuff. It all varies. I have a clean PS3. I really don't have anything, so it literally takes me about like a minute or two or so, and then it's done. But if you, like I said before, if you have a lot, then it all varies. So I'll meet you back if it back guys when the PS3's database has been rebuilt. As you see here, you have the notification stating that your database is going to be rebuilt via your system storage. Go ahead and just hit OK. Like I said before, depending on how much files and how much games you have on your PlayStation 3, the rebuild process may take longer. Since I have a PlayStation 3 that literally has no files on it and like maybe one game on it, like a PS2 game, it's going to run relatively pretty fast. So as you see here, it's done. Now what you want to do, once your PS3 database has been fully rebuilt, you want to go to whatever user you have your trophies on. Go ahead and check the trophy collection first. As you see here, I basically have my trophies right here. Don't worry if it says 0%, it's still going to sync. But right now guys, what we're going to do is go ahead and open up SEN Enabler, aka GT Academy. So go ahead and click X right on that. Alright guys, so once you're in SEN Enabler, what you want to do now is go ahead and hit patch all, click X, and then you basically want to hit official firmware mode, because what we're trying to do is basically emulate that your PlayStation 3 is not on custom firmware and is on official firmware. And also go ahead and hit delete history. And now what you want to do is go ahead and hit the exit button, and then once from there we're going to go to the PSN and sign in and sync our trophies. Alright, back on your XMB, what you want to do now is go ahead and scroll all the way to your network settings just to verify that if your internet connection is enabled or disabled. What you want to also do now is go to trophy collection to see if all your trophies are synced to 100%. If they do say 0%, it's fine. It's just sometimes when you rebuild the database, it doesn't get the accurate count, but that's okay. Go ahead and just hit sync with server. Go ahead and make sure your PSN is signed in, and now you should get this error called 822D55. That means it successfully has synced over. My account was on originally level 8. It should be higher than level 9 or 10. So let's see. Yeah, so it's on 9 right now. Probably, and I only put like a few couple trophy folders because I had to re-record this like a dozen times because my little capture card wanted to act up on me. But that's how, guys, you essentially basically sync PlayStation 3 trophies onto your modded console. With that being said, if you guys have any questions and you want me to basically ask it in the comment section, I'm usually free. If there guys are out there that don't have PS3s and are interested in trophy syncs, I have my own eBay shop. I would also link in the description below, so I basically sell trophies for the PlayStation 3 and Vita. But with that being said, my name is Nagato and I'm signing out. Peace.